why do we need digital signatures, and what are the properties and requirements of digital signatures. Now, after having gone through message authentication codes and hash functions which are used for authentication, now these authentication codes, may it be MAC or hash functions, definitely protect the two parties who are communicating with each other from a third party, but they do not provide protection from each other. Now, why do we need digital signature? Let us consider a scenario. Now, we have already gone through a basic MAC function. Now, let us assume that there are two parties A and B who want to communicate, and there's a message M. The message M is given to the message authentication function, which uses the secret key K. Now, this secret key K is shared between the two parties who intend to communicate so that there is authentication, and this generates a unique code which is appended to the message and is transmitted. Now, how does B verify that he has received the message from A? So B would receive the message along with the message authentication code, which is CK of M. He would use the message M, pass it through the message authentication function using the same key K, and he would in turn generate CK of M. And that CK of M is compared with the received CK of M, and thereby if they both are the same, then B concludes that the message has come from A. So that provides as an authenticator. So here A and B are very sure that they are the parties who are communicating with each other. Now, here in such a system, of course, a message authentication code will definitely protect the exchange of messages, will definitely protect from any other third party, but will not protect from these two who intend to communicate. Now, what would happen? The following disputes can arise. Now, let's see the first one. Now, let us assume that A can forge a data and claim that it has come from B. Now, A will generate a message M, and he would simply create an authentication code, right? He would pass it to C using the key K. So the message M along with CK of M would be generated by A itself, and A would claim that he has received it from B, right? Now B can deny, so here what has happened, B has not sent a message, but here A claims that B has sent a message. Why? Because CK of M can be generated by both A and B, right? And what is the other dispute which can arise? B can deny sending the message. Now B can send a message and he can deny it because there is a possibility of A forging the message, isn't it? So A can forge a message and claim that it has come from B. And similarly, if B has sent a message, he can also deny that he has sent it. Now, because of these two disputes, so you see that a general authentication function, a hash function, or a message authentication code would definitely protect these two parties who intend to communicate from a third party but not from each other. And hence, we need digital signatures. Now, what are digital signatures? Digital signatures are analogous to signatures which we do on paper, that is hand signatures. And what are the properties of digital signature? So let's discuss the properties. Now, any digital signature must verify the author. So it must verify the author, that is the person who is the content creator, and the date and time of signature. So this is very important. So these are the properties of a digital signature. It must also authenticate the contents. So it must authenticate the contents of the sender at the time of signature. right? So it must authenticate the contents at the time when the signature is being made, right? So authenticate the contents when the digital signature is made or performed, right? And what are the other thing? It must be verifiable by any third property to resolve disputes. So it should be verifiable by a third party. And why is this required? To resolve disputes. So let us go through the properties of digital signature once again. So it should be able to verify the author, the content creator, and also the date and time of the signature. It should be able to authenticate the contents when the signature is made, and the signature should be verifiable by a third property. And why is this important? This is important so that any disputes can be resolved, right? So these are the properties of digital signatures, and let us also go through the requirements of digital signature. Now, what are the requirements of digital signature? So a digital signature also includes the authentication function, but it provides something more than what an authentication function just provides. So isn't it? So a digital signature it definitely includes the authentication function, right? And the requirements of the digital signature are, so what is the first requirement? The first requirement states that the signature must be a bit pattern that depends on the message which is being signed. So it is a bit pattern that depends on the message which is being signed. So this is the first requirement. The second requirement, that the signature must use some information which is unique to the sender. So it must include information which is unique to the sender, which is very important, right? And why is this important? This is important because it is used to prevent both forgery and denial. So to prevent both forgery and denial, right? So it must include some unique information which is unique to the sender. So it must include a bit pattern or something which is very unique to the sender, right? So that it prevents forgery and denial. That means once the sender has sent the message, he should not be able to deny that he has sent it, right? So to prevent both forgery and denial, it's very important. It must be relatively easy to produce a digital signature, right? So easy to produce a digital signature, and at the same time, though it is easy, it must be computationally infeasible. So on one hand, the digital signature must be very easy to produce. On the other hand, it must be computationally infeasible. That means very difficult to forge a digital signature, right? So these are all the requirements, and apart from that, it should be such that one can easily retain a copy of the digital signature for storage, right? So it should be possible for us to practically retain a copy of the digital signature for storage. So again, what are the requirements? So as I've already told you, the digital signature includes the authentication function, but also provides a lot more than just that. So here, the digital signature, of course, must be a bit pattern that depends on the message which is being signed. And two, it must include some information which is unique to the sender, and this is important to prevent both forgery and denial by the sender. And it must be easy to produce the digital signature, and at the same time it should be computationally infeasible to forge a digital signature, and it must be practical to retain a copy of the digital signature in storage. So these are all the requirements of digital signature, right? So this was the first lecture on digital signatures. So in the coming few lectures we'll talk about the various digital signature algorithms. To view all the other videos in cryptography and network theory, click on the I icon or go through the playlist Cryptography and Network Security, and do not forget to like, share and subscribe, and thanks for watching.